World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Jana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
She was told that she couldn't play with the boys. She was told that they were too big, too rough, too strong. She was told to give up her dreams and move on. She was told to just be pretty, be quiet, be a lady. She was told that women had to stay on their side of the court, stay in your lane. Playing and competing with men was insane. She was told that men and women would never be equal. Dreaming like that would only be linked to your mind, to your soul. She never listened. She knew that their thinking was old. She is magic. She is the definition of spirit. She is what champions are made of. She is now.
$1 in my pocket means $1 to spend.
Right. 401k is typically where most people of color that I know stop.
I was never taught what it is to be financially literate.
Financial literacy, honestly, I never heard that term before until I was maybe 18.
You know, I wasn't really taught about money. I was more self-taught.
Really, you know, from the age of 7 and 8, I was helping her with her bills. I was writing checks. I understood the process of paying bills. I understood the process of saving.
One thing she told me when I was younger that always stuck with me even to now is that you don't have to spend money as soon as you get it.
Is this the best way to spend my dollar? And that was my mindset for so long.
Well, welcome to Access Wealth Nation with Dr. Jana B. Woodhouse, getting that checkup from the neck up, doing your financial righteous left, right, and making it happen. And so, of course, we're broadcast on the Soul City Network and WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. And I'm glad to be here today. We've got a little dichotomy taking place. We've got the close of Black History Month and the opening of Women's History Month. And since I cover both of them, I'm going to do a little talk on both aspects. The first thing that we want to do, of course, is hello, everyone. Happy Women's History Month. Thanks a lot, Tyrone Glover, doing his thing with Leverage Credit. But of course, we've got the How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker book, which is, and that's really cute. I'm so prepared to roll out the next book. I don't even have the other book in front of me. It's okay. Y'all know about How Money Works. Stop being a sucker. To get that book, all you got to do is send an email to Anaj Enterprises, that's ANAJ Enterprises Inc. at Gmail, for those of you who are on the radio, and just say, I like the book. Make sure that you send in the email your name and your address, because it is a physical book. And it really is one that has been helping people all over the country. As a matter of fact, it's the #1 financial book in the country. And it's up to almost a distribution of almost, I think it's like 800,000, going on to the billion, knocking on the doors. Because if we can make people financially literate, we can change the world. You think about it, maybe about 50, 60 years ago, there were people in this world who really could not read. And now that's like a tiny amount of people who really can't read. And so we've got to battle this on the level of financial literacy so that people are financially literate, because, Jana's words are, Dr. Jana says, if you know better, you'll do better. So you need to know. And, that's what we're here for with Access Wealth Nation. Also, for those of you, if you know that where you are is not where you want to be, but you know where you want to be financially. If that's the case, then how do I get there? Excuse me. And the best way to do that is through I'm having a little moment. Excuse me. So, knowing that you can get a financial needs analysis. I don't know where this cough is coming from, but it is definitely giving me a little problem. Excuse me, folks out there in TV land. But if you know where you want to be, then we can do a financial needs analysis. It's free. And the beauty in it is that it is one where if you believe you know where you are and where you want to be, it makes it easy to have a plan. So if you have a plan, you are making sure you're not planning to fail. I'm hoping someone sees something. Need some water. Okay, so that's the mechanics behind that. And therefore, we're in the mood to now learn more about financial literacy. Now, we just closed Black History Month, and a lot of people don't understand that Black History Month is important. The reason why we have February is because it's the same month of where there's two individuals who were very heavy part of emancipation, Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln, so they say. So in doing so, both of them, their birthdays are in February, and that's why we have Black History Month in February. It used to be Black History Week, and then it was almost like a day. So we're progressing in understanding our history, and which is our story. That being said, for Black History Month, there was a lot of things that were going on, and we had a guest on, Dr. James Wilkerson, who has taken his mission to the airways. And so the whole focus is basically on teaching us about financial literacy. So, it's great to have a partner and on the mission. And so some of the things that we talk about is the racial wealth gap. Now, I know some people don't think we really have a racial wealth gap. They think that it is one of those things that it just is. And I'm so happy someone's nice enough to bring me some water. Thank you so much. And so the beauty in this is that you have the opportunity to get information about how money works. So we have the book, and we have some sessions that are getting ready to take place. And one of the sessions is going to be on Monday at 7. It'll be 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, because we have to think about the folks across the country. So there's one at 6:30. Is the same time zone, different time zone, which is Central Standard Time, 5:30 Mountain Standard Time, and then, of course, Pacific Standard Time. Hopefully someone will pick this up and get a chance to see, but it's called The Future of Black American Financial Literacy. And in that, we will be talking about how to put, there's the flyer, and the Zoom link is there. It's 899, because I have to do this for my radio people, 899-7125-7155. And the passcode is 638053. Log in. It's at 7:30. Be early, Eastern Standard Time, and get the chance to see what really is our state of African American financial literacy. Very, very important. If it's to be, it is up to we. We don't have any more time to point fingers. We have to get our act together and make some differences. You know, the wealth gap, the racial wealth gap, you got to see how large it really is. For every dollar that's held by a white family, a Black family has just 25 cents. For every dollar, that's a quarter of what other communities have. I remember going to Tulsa. As you all know, I was able to go to Tulsa for the 100th anniversary of Black Wall Street. And it was really an eye-opener, because right now, for every time we spend a dollar in our community, it takes basically about maybe 40 minutes to get out of our community, which means that there's nothing building capitally in our communities. One of the reasons is we don't own any businesses. You know, we were sold this bill of goods to get civil service jobs, and we had arrived. Now they done turned the whole camera back around, and now you need to be a business owner, but we don't know how to be business owners because we've not had the generation and generations of businesses to learn from. So now we're in the world of learning about how money works. We've got to catch up. And the reason why I bring this up is because Black Wall Street, serious eye opener. It was a time when we owned our own businesses, and it took 3 to 5 years before the money left our community. That meant that it grew and grew, and one bought from another and traded with each other. That's how communities are supposed to be. And so this is where we need to really work towards. And I did hear Dr. James Wilkerson talk, and I really thought it was great that he brought out some serious points, which is we need to start talking about money and how it works. Somehow we became the secret agents, and parents don't talk about how the bills are going. You know, I tell my story is the fact that I had a young man, now he's probably a young man now, but a young boy in my office about 8 years old. And I love when you come to get your financial needs analysis that you bring your children, let them sit and hear how money works. And so when we finished with the consultation, his mother left out for a minute and came. I said to him, "So what do you think about what you learned today?" And he said, "I don't get it." I said, what didn't you get? He said, "Well, I don't understand why we've got to do all of this, because when I get 18, I'm going to get the money card." So I looked and I said, "What's the money card?" The money, you know how those young kids can look at you like, "You old, why don't you know what a money card is?" But anyway, when his mother came back in to the room, I said, "He's talking about a money card." And so she's like, "What's the money card?" He said, he pulled out the ATM card. And so he says, "You get the money card and you put it in and you get money. So when I turn 18, I'm going to get this money card." Sort of left the disconnect. See, not talking to him is that Ma has to work. The money has to go into an account. Then comes the money card, the ATM card, and you have to work for that, or you have to have money in there to get the money out. But what do we do when we have our children and we're supposed to be going shopping or just taking them somewhere? We say, "Stop 1 minute, got to go get some money." So all they see is the card and going into the bank or to the ATM machine. They don't see what goes along with that. We need to include them, teaching them how to budget, teaching them not just like what's going on now. There's like 21 states that make it mandatory for financial literacy. Yeah, but they're teaching them how to balance a checkbook. How many of y'all out there are using checkbooks? None, probably very small. And if you're not using check, how many of y'all carry cash? It's interesting. I was walking in the street not too long ago, and someone asked me, they on hard times. I don't even didn't have $1 to give. I ain't had 25 cents to give. Why? Because I don't carry cash. It'd be surprising if we turn around one day and all of the beggars now have swipe cards, because I know that's kind of crazy. But anyway, those are the things we need to have some talks at the table and have the children involved, and focus in on wealth building and also focus in on generational wealth. Very, very important. Now, if y'all have comments and statements, please feel free to put it in the chat. And any questions, be glad to answer. But this is a very important thing. So I highly recommend that y'all take the time and come in and participate in the future of Black American financial literacy and how we're going to make the difference, because we can. We've got decent jobs, decent businesses. We can make a difference. So it is so important for us to get our act together, and also to really focus in on building the wealth, but also taking care of it so that it goes to the next generation. And to do that, you've got to be able to educate the next generation on what they do with the money. Because if not, you sit, you sacrifice, you build, they spend. Not good. That's not how it's supposed to work. We can make a difference. And I think we can make a difference by basically following, if you get the book, the 7 money milestones. Making sure that you've got the proper insurance, making sure that you take care of the debt. Debt is not a bad thing. Let me just talk about that for a quick second about debt. I keep this entire week, it's tax season. And so, Anaj Enterprises, for all your financial needs, is dealing with taxes. But I'm listening to my clients talk. I don't want debt. Well, it's not a bad thing. It's controlling debt and understanding that you can make your money work while you're using somebody else's. You ever heard of that? Upper people property? So you've got to think about it differently. And that's really our mindset. We have to be in the wealth mindset because none of this means a hill of beans if you don't have the wealth mindset. If you use the words like this, I can't afford it, should be, how can I afford it? How do I make it happen? And if you need a professional, guess what? You get yourself a financial educator or a financial advisor and let them work with you. It's a different thing. It's just like we don't, we're not doctors or some health advisors. So therefore, we go to one to get advice and then we work with it and work with them. Well, that's your body. Why are you not doing that with your money? Is to make sure that your financial house is in order. And you don't do it by yourself. I'm telling you now, because you're going to tell tales to yourself. But when you have to meet up with someone, you definitely have to have your act together. And some people are very distressed. I had someone in my office today and they're like, I just can't put this stuff together. Yes, you can. And once it's put together, you can change your life. One of those things, change your financial literacy, change your life. We all want the good life. And that means different to each one of us. So we have to get on the good foot and start getting busy about it. Now we're already in March. Everybody made their resolutions, and said, oh, I'm going to save more. I'm going to exercise. So it's right about now that health club membership that you got is probably not being used. It had a little snow here in New York. I'm sure that was a good excuse for folks to stop, So we have to stay on the path and not be deterred and get help when we need help and make a difference in our lives. So for Black History Month, in honor of our ancestors, as a matter of fact, I just looked and my family tree is right behind me. I always keep a look on that. Why? Because that's whose shoulders I really stand on. Between the Woodhouses and the Johnsons, I am standing on their shoulders, and I'm out here on a mission to make a difference for them, but even more so for all of the people in our community. And community is a broad range. But that being said, let's get busy and let's make a difference and stop one of the biggest things that we have, which is in the biggest nation in the entire world, we start to be a member of. Y'all know what that is? Procrastination. Stay away from it. Let's get busy and make a difference. Now, let's look at this from another standpoint. Today is March the 2nd, and it is also Women's History Month. And one of the reasons why we had to put on a repeat show last week was because I had the honor to participate in the rollout of another book. Now, some people would say, you got the How Money Works book. What's next? So this is what's next. Let's see if we get this on camera. How Money Works for Women. Take control or lose it. So this means a lot. And why? Because there's over 64% of women who really don't know what to do about money, maybe have somebody else manage the money for them, but that person leaves this earth, i.e. your husband, significant other, and you don't know what to do. So it's really important at this stage is to know how money works and some of the things that we do, because most of us will end up in one shape or another handling the finances of the family. This can be a good thing or it can be a real terrifying situation if we don't get our act together and take control and then lose it. Don't want to lose it. They say that on an average, when the significant other or partner or husband or whoever is the one managing the money, usually there's always in a couple, there's one person who handles the money and there's one person who knows how to spend it. But in that case, both need to know how the money works. And the way to make that happen is that both participate and get involved and make it fun. You know, I know people tell me math is not fun. I think I was born adding and subtracting, so I don't have that feeling. But these are the things that we need to do, is to focus. So I thought I'd spend a little time. This book was written by Sharon Lechter and Kim Schooler. Now, y'all may know Sharon Lechter, as long you know Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Yeah, she co-authored that with Robert Kiyosaki. She also helped to market the game, which is my favorite game, Cash Flow. Cash Flow is, might as well say, it's Monopoly on steroids, but it helps you to understand how money works and make it fun. She also authored the book, Think and Grow Rich for Women. So she's been out here a while. She's authored about maybe 25 books, 20 some odd books. And she has worked with Kim Schooler, who, I mean, is a phenomenal woman. She was the president of one of the broker dealerships, a teacher, an attorney, you know, to exemplify what a woman can do, you know. And she and Sharon will be doing some interviews across the country. Of course, I will have them on my show also to tell why they did this book. But just to give you a little sneak peek, that's what I'm doing, is sneak peeking, because it hasn't come out officially. So this is just a preview edition. I just want you to sort of get enthralled with it. The characters, now you'll know the characters of How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker. So some of them are repeated here, but there's some new characters. So we still have Zoe, my 19-year-old, who really is just learning about money. And it's like, that's exactly what she says. It opened her mind to the rule of 72. So if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, that means y'all haven't read the book. Read the book, okay? But she's a university student, and young people really need to know about money because it is really, time is of the essence. You turn around, you're 19. Before you know it, you're 29. You've lost 10 years of being able to build assets. Do you know, if you do things correct and you put away as little as $100 a month during that time, by the time you reach your 60s, you're a millionaire, depending upon interest rates and all of that stuff. But the concept, work with me on the concept. But that's saving a little bit. Now, when you think about $100 a month, what is that? That's it's a little bit more than $2 a day. And we waste that if we just put it away and start building. Then you got Maria, who is a CPA, and she likes to basically, with how they say it here is which is why she basically believes that you can have your cake and eat it too. Kind of like what I think too. You can really build. And that's why she started her accounting business, but she did it just for women-owned businesses. And people told her, which is what, whenever you decide to become an entrepreneur, there is always the naysayers. That's not going to work, you know, because why? Have they done it? If they haven't been in business and successful, don't take the advice. They haven't done it. But her thing is that she didn't listen, and so now she's got a successful accounting business. Somehow I think they told my story. But definitely Maria's focus is helping women businesses. Well, my focus is helping women businesses along with Black and Latino businesses, the underserved areas. Then there's Val. Now, let me tell you about Val. Val is a blogger and social media influencer. And I know y'all out there, I've heard it a dime a dozen, is that I'm going to be an influencer. That's a lot of work. But basically, 4 years ago, she had her first child. And the thing is that she, let's see how she chose her career, is to be from a successful interior decorator into being a social media influence. That's what she did. And she helps to navigate the challenges of raising. She has a special needs child. And that's something that a lot of people are dealing with. And you have to prepare for it. Good time to talk to a financial educator to get an idea of what you need to do when you have a special needs child. That is someone who may be relying upon you for many, many years. So, how do you protect them and how they're able to survive and move on their own? Then there's Dana. That happens to be my favorite one. She's a hospital director and takes no stuff. And her thing is she has a child also, and her focus is to help her child to be ready in life. Then there's Sarah, who's 49 years old and a real estate agent. So these are really phenomenal characters. They took a lot of thought into creating the characters. And she's one that's a stickler. You know, she knows how to make things happen, but she's become profitable on her own business. You see, these are the things people can start to mimic behind, but also it's a good way for our young girls to know that they can be successful too. And how do you do it? You read to them until they can read for themselves, and to know that these are some of the professions that they can go into and not necessarily just be a worker bee. Don't get me wrong, worker bees are important because we need to hire worker bees. Somebody who's working a business need to have someone to assist them. That's just the reality of life. Everybody is not going to be an entrepreneur, but everybody can if they have that desire. Then there's Ming, who is a history professor. So we did embrace our teachers, which are the most underpaid people in the world. So she basically has been working with a class and helping them to understand how money works. And she does Jeopardy classes in her school. Here we go again. There's Fatima, who was a stay-home mom. And Fatima's husband died. Now she got to learn how money works. How many people out there relate to that? Okay. And last but not least, we have Janet. Janet is 82. She's a retired office assistant. And she has grandchildren and great grandchildren. So this is what this book is all about. Women and the things that we need to not only know, but also things we need to do, things to learn about, like the Rule of 72. Awesome and important. So in respects to that, because we take this time to teach, there's some other things that are in the book that is really necessary for you to learn about. Some questions that you have to ask yourself. Am I happy in the position I'm in right now economically? We have right now inflation. Y'all know what inflation is? Inflation is your buying power. Yeah, we've had some trouble here. And I've recognized that across the country where people were getting help from food, the SNAP program, the federal SNAP program, they just took everything that they gave during COVID. So now what do you do? How do you make it when there's $7 for a dozen of eggs. You become vegan. Don't eat any eggs. No, but you've got to prepare. And I think that this the people are talking about a negative note of what's going on in our economy. But let's look at a positive note. We have the opportunity to be able to work together to build our community. And sometimes the children don't have to leave home. And if they leave home, sometimes what I just heard another article that came out, a report that now there's like 40% of the parents are moving in with the children. It's community. Sometimes that's so important that we need to have some type of community and work with each other. You know, as mom and dad get older, you may want to be there to help. You know, they've called that the sandwich generation. You got to take care of your children, you got to take care of your parents, and you're in the middle there. So these are the things that we have to really pay attention to. Again, I know it's a ploy to say it, but we need to really focus in on planning. Because if we have a plan, then we know we're not planning to fail. These are just some of the things. So that's one of the questions we got to ask ourselves. What do I do? How do I get myself out of this thing? You know, and this is some of the things that is discussed in the How Money Works book, also the How Money Works book for women, and also coming to that seminar that we're doing. It's not going to be a long drawn out seminar. I know y'all don't want to be sitting even in your PJs. Everybody's got a complaint that they don't have time. So this way you can sign in, log in on Monday, March the 6th, 7:30. And also we're going to have a little section that where if you have a question or so, a few, we're there for you, just like I do at this show. Anytime you have a question, you can send it to us at anajenterprisesinc@gmail and see if we can help you move to the next level. So I say that to say, these are just some of the things that we need to pay attention to make our lives better. Now I'm going to talk a little bit since I've got a few minutes, we can talk about really some of the things that we need to pay more attention to as a people in the community. One is, of course, debt. Like I said, for some reason, I don't understand why people think debt is bad. You need debt. And I suggest highly that you tune into Leverage Your Credit with Tyrone Glover on Tuesdays at 6 o'clock on the Soul City Network. Why? Because he definitely shows you that debt's not bad. Misuse of debt is bad. And that's the whole thing, is knowing and understanding and building on what you have now. Now, I do want to say one thing, because I do, I'm not going to stereotype us, but I will say, if you messed up, or let's put it this way, if your parents used your social security numbers so that they could keep the lights on, the gas on, because they done messed up their credit, don't do the same thing with your children. If you've got that problem, work it out. And then you see someone like Tyrone Glover to see how you can straighten your situation out. If you want to start a business, Lord knows, if you're starting a business, do not jump immediately to an LLC. Why? Because the limited liability company, and if you got one member, well, it's the same way as if you had what's called a DBA and you're doing a sole proprietorship. So therefore, sit with someone to discuss the way you should structure, you hear the word structure, your business. So if you're coming from being an employee to an entrepreneur, sit down with get your team together. I ain't even going to say financial advisor. Get your team together. You need a good lawyer. You need a good accountant, might be, and a good financial educator or a financial advisor. Sometimes you can get 2 in 1. But you need those 3 things to make you go forward. These are just some of the things, and I'm hoping people taking note that these are the things, because I get these questions and I'm like, didn't you watch the show? You know, these are some of the things that you need to do to move forward and make a difference. If you keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting change, you know what that is? That's the definition of insanity. And we're not insane. So these are the things that we need to do. We need to put together our budgets. We need to put together our business plan. These are the things we need to sit with a financial advisor, have an attorney. Some of y'all will say, I can't afford. You hear that? I can't afford. No, you can. How do I afford to sit with an attorney or a financial advisor or an accountant? How do I do that? And the way you do it is that you ask what their hourly rate is. Instead of being a retainer rate, get an hourly rate and have your questions written down and go through them. So if their hourly rate is $250, get your $250 and sit with them and wear it out. And that's it, you know. So my last but not least topic for today, because we're in the middle and the midst of tax season. It is here. Now, here's the warnings that I have. First and foremost, March the 15th is a very important date. Some of you have partnerships. That's where you opened up the business and you own maybe 50% and someone else owns the other 50, or you own 90% and the other one owns 10%. That's a partnership. Your partnership tax returns have to be filed by March the 15th, or you need to get an extension. You don't want to get an extension, because if you have to extend that, you're going to have to extend your personal returns. If you have a subchapter S Corp and you have done nothing with it, because someone told you to open up a subchapter S Corp, or they told you to open up the partnership under the LLC, you have to file. I don't know what's happening with me. Please excuse me today. But you have to file by March 15th. Now, before you go to the accountant or the preparer, get your books together. If you took in a certain amount of income, that's the income. You got some expenses that are related to that income for you generating your business. You may have rent, you might have supplies, you might have had to pay to establish that partnership or that LLC partnership, or you paid for the S Corp. Again, when you get these businesses, you're in business to make money. So you've got to show IRS that you're in the business of making money. But you have to put these things in order. You can use an Excel spreadsheet, QuickBooks. Most accountants prefer the QuickBooks. I know I do, but that's not what I get. So I use what I get, so long as you can account for what your business is doing. March 15th is a very important date for you to make sure that those returns are filed. I have a cutoff date, so most of my clients, thank you all for very much being on time to get the information. Now it's my job to get it out by March 15th to you so that you qualify. That's what's supposed to be, so you stay in compliance. Now let's look at the other side to this. After those returns are met for the dateline, they usually generate what's called a K1 form. And it's either a K1S, 1120S, or it's a K1 1065. That doesn't matter. Your accountant will know what to do. But the thing is that those forms lead to your personal. So you can't do your personal returns before you get your partnerships, your S corps done, because they work hand in hand. That's why the date line to have them done is March the 15th, because now we have another date line for your personal returns. And your personal returns have to be done by April the 18th. I know that's a different date, because April the 15th is usually our legislative date that we have to file tax returns. But for some reason, it's falling on this year, of course, on a weekend. And then that Monday is Emancipation Day in Washington. I think this year I'm going to go look up exactly what that date entails, but it's Emancipation Day. So therefore, it's a holiday. So the next day, which that's the 17th, so the 18th is when your tax returns, your personal tax returns are due. So don't wait till the last minute. No matter where you go to get your tax returns done, do not wait till the last minute. Make sure that you get yourself in, and don't think, unless you go into the factory. Y'all know what I mean by the factory. If y'all are going there, they will get them in, get them in, get them out. Don't ask you no questions. Just keep going. Don't care how you prepare. Just get it in and get it out. But if you really go to an accountant or a tax accountant, a preparer, an enrolled agent, all of the above, they need time to be able to give you the best of the best. So make sure that you treat yourself well, and especially if you're going to pay for the returns. Now, again, you can get your returns done free. IRS has a mechanism by which you can get your returns done for free. No one's asking you any questions there. They're just going to prepare. And they don't prepare, they do it electronically. Or you can go, like I said, to the factories, or you can sit with a preparer. These are some of the things you can do. You don't have to pay. And especially those of you who are in school for the first time, before, and getting your first paychecks, and last year was your first job, which is awesome. But I'm hoping that you really take the time to talk to your parents. Here goes this communication time. Talk to your parents to find out, did they plan on claiming you? And do that before you file your returns. Don't be so fast to go file. I know everybody wants their refunds. This year, refunds are not the easiest thing to receive. All those credits and things that we had over the past few years, they're gone. And also for those of you who are filing child tax credit or earned income credit, those are special credits. IRS is taking longer to process. So those who filed January the 23rd, which was the opening of tax season, basically right now, the end of February, they were receiving their refunds. It wasn't anything that the preparers or the accountants did. It's just what IRS did, that they decided that they needed to hold. And therefore, people got their tax return. They got their refunds late. Now, since I'm on the topic of refunds can be good, but for some reason, some people utilize refunds as if they are the savings account. I don't understand that. That means that the government has held your money all year long and then give it back to you with no interest. Who does that? People in our community have a tendency to do it. They're waiting for their refund check. They even got stores that are taking your, helping you with cashing your check. We need to stop the madness. That money that we have been saving with the government, we could have had that in our pocket. So again, sit with your accountant your financial advisor, and plan. So this is a cough day today for me. I don't understand it, but look, maybe I'm just so excited that the coughing started. But anyway, these are the things that are happening here that during this period of time. So make sure that you understand what's going on with your finances. Another little key is a thing called the W-4 form. Those forms are the forms you have to fill out when you got the job. It would be good if you sat and talked with someone regarding it. And the reason why is that we're going to take care of this little coughing thing because it's about to drive me up. I'm sure it's not doing any good for you. But of course, I got my mints, my $100 mints. There we go. So in saying this is that if you don't withhold properly, there we go. If you don't withhold properly, take money out of your tax check properly, you will wind up owing at the end of the year. If you take out too much, you get a refund. That's how it works. So what you need to do is to look and see how you're withholding. I had people who have just started their jobs and somehow somebody got them to file exempt. This is terrible because now they got to pay back. And not only that, but the government right now is charging penalties for under withholding where you didn't keep enough. Listen to me. It is important for you. I know you don't, most of you get your paychecks, they get automatically deposited into the bank. You don't see your pay stub. Take some time and look at the pay stub. You can get it electronically from the job, or you may be lucky at one of them jobs that hand it to you, but most of the cases it's done electronically. Take the time to look at it and see that there's a section that says federal tax. There's a section that says local tax. And there's a section that says state tax. Just make sure that there's taxes coming out and sit with an accountant for just it's not even going to take an hour. It'll probably take maybe 20 minutes just to make sure that you're withholding properly so that you don't have an incident at the end of the year. Also, many of you may have the ability to participate in what they call qualified plans, 401k plans, 403bs, tax deferred plans, tax thrift savings plans. All of those things say, I'm going to take some money out, I'm going to put it away for my future because at least I'll have it in the future. But Uncle Sam is not going to give it back to me if I just pay in taxes. So those are the things that you need to do to sit with a financial advisor or an accountant to make sure you're doing this right. Because in the long run, it will be the best thing. You're young, you're coming out. We had so many people come out into the job market last year, and made a lot of mistakes. And so it is so important that you take this time now to check and see how are things going this year. If you had a rough year when you filed your tax returns, if you've done that already and you see that you wound up owing, number one, you should always ask the person who prepared your tax returns, why? Why do I owe? But if they can't answer you, then at least you go to someone who can, all right? And then on top of that, make the changes so that you don't owe the following for this year while we're going through this. Can I join a retirement plan? Can I be a part? We ain't got to worry about pensions because pensions are out, and I'm sure most of y'all don't even know what I'm talking about when it comes to a pension. My baby boomers know exactly what I'm talking about. And many of y'all are getting ready to retire, and you need to make sure that you're prepped for what retirement is going to really mean and how does it affect you financially. You know, a lot of you have retirement plans and you're only getting 50% or 60% of what you were living on. If you were only getting that, if you're not able to live off of the 100% you've been getting, how in the world are you going to live on 50 or 60%? So you need to really sit and get your plan together. This is all that's happening right now. We have the baby boomers who are turning 65 at 10,000 every day. We've got the Generation X who need to be preparing for their retirement, and they're really tight on their budgets because the jobs that they have is not guaranteed. We got Generation Z who's running amok and quitting jobs. I've heard at least 6 situations of where individuals in Gen Z decided, I'm not feeling the job. And so they're still on their parents' couch. Watch that, okay? Not to put y'all into a certain stereotype, but there are some of y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. So pull it together and get your finances together. Talk to a financial advisor and also talk to an accountant and to an attorney because you have to get certain documents together also for your estate, even if you're in your 20s. So I'm having a little situation with this coughing. I please ask for your forgiveness and your prayers too, because I don't know what's going on here, but I feel good. So we just know that this is the time for us to get our finances together, get our dreams together. When you come for a financial needs analysis, another key ploy that I must tell you, you must have your dreams and your goals. We give a free financial analysis. All you got to do is call 646-375-2121. No obligation. I'm not looking for you to do business with me there. I'm looking for you to have a plan and free up. I'm joining Dr. James Wilkerson. He wants to have 1 million men have life insurance to build for their family. And I want to have 1 million families put together so that their future is taken again. So together we can build. And that we don't have to look for someone to help us out because we have everything in place. These are the things that are so important. So again, this is that time of the year. I don't think we have any questions or comments, but I just say to you, I see someone is saying they're getting the book. I'm glad. I will make sure that everybody gets their book. We've got another shipment that came in. I would say anybody who comes to the event that we're having, which is the future of Black American financial literacy, if you attend and you register, you will get a book. We will give you a book. It's not a physical presentation. It is on Zoom, so you're going to have to provide us with a mailing address. But we're not in the business of trying to, solicit you. The key is that we want to educate you. These are the things that are so important. So That being said, since having this little situation, I'm hoping that you'll really learn something today. I tried to cover something for Black History Month and then also to cover for Women's History Month. I'm going to have a few business owners being featured on the show to share what they're doing. And then I even have a professional counselor who, not a counselor, I said that wrong. She is a career guidance person who will give you life coaching. And she's been very successful over 20 years in the industry doing this. And I'm featuring her. I'm going to have also a dentist. People don't understand how important, especially in our community, how important our teeth are. And this specific doctor, Dr. Williams, is in Harlem, and she is taking care of our community, but she's also taking care of the communities in Africa. And we're going to talk about how you guys save to put money together so you can get your teeth straight, get your teeth together, because she talks about how that affects the rest of your body. So we have some great folks. We've got a couple of authors who are coming out with their books and sharing their knowledge of their books and what they want to do to help the community. It's all about community. You know, there was one of those things of Martin Luther King. They said, do you choose chaos or community? Well, in my mind, we don't have to choose anything. We have to have community because we got enough chaos going on out here in this world. Time to stop. So I hope you learned something today. I hope you understand that we are here to help and to educate you. But also, if you have your personal questions, tell folks to come and bring the questions. I'm not afraid. Been in this industry for over 44 years. Done told about my age. And so the opportunity to share with you. And if you have concerns, reach out to us at anagenterprisesinc@gmail.com. I appreciate all of you because we were featured on YouTube, on a YouTube page. We also were in the top 4% of Facebook Live. So you guys are watching. It just seems like you'll watch a lot after I get off and been out for a while, then you come back. But if you have questions and you're listening to this after the show has closed, feel free to contact anagenterprisesinc@gmail.com and give us your questions, and we'll be glad to help you. So y'all have a good night. Be safe. Keep focused. And get your checkup from the neck up. This is Dr. Jana B. Woodhouse with Access Wealth Nation on the Soul City Network and WHCR, signing off.
She was told that she couldn't play with the boys. She was told that they were too big, too rough, too strong. She was told to give up her dreams and move on. She was told to just be pretty, be quiet, be a lady. She was told that women had to stay on their side of the court, stay in your lane. Playing and competing with men was insane. She was told that men and women would never be equal. Dreaming like that would only be lethal to your mind, to your soul. She never listened. She knew that their thinking was old. She is magic. She is the definition of spirit. She is what champions are made of. She is magic.